Hola, ¿cómo están todos?
Hello, how are you all?
Un placer y honor tenerlos
It
acá
is a pleasure and an honor to have you here this afternoon
con una gran amiga,
with a great friend of mine. This is Chiqui González.
actriz,
Chiqui is an actress,
abogada
lawyer,
y ex ministra de
an
Innovación y
ex
Cultura del
and
Gobierno de Santa
former
Fe
Minister of
en
Culture
Argentina.
and Arts
Se ha
of
dedicado
Santa
sus
Fe,
vidas a
Argentina.
trabajar en diferentes
She has
espacios y
worked
ámbitos de la cultura
in
en la
different
ciudad de
spaces in
Rosario.
cultural aspects in the city
Su
of
currículum es
Rosario.
mucho más extenso
Her,
y mayor.
her resume
Quiero
is a lot
mencionar
bigger than that, but I would like to
algo
mention that her
que
human
eso nunca se
resume,
olvida.
it's very important. That's something we
Chiqui
never
fue
forget.
ministra
Tiki was
cuando
a
yo fui
minister when
directora
I
de la
was
Orquesta
a
Sinfónica Provincial de Santa Fe.
director of
Quiero
the
contarles
Symphonic
que
Orchestra
la
of
ministra
Santa Fe.
Chiqui
I would like
dirigió
to tell you that
todo de
she
una manera tan
used to
especial
direct
y de una
everything
manera
in
tan
such a
ejemplar.
special way, in a different
No puedo
way.
encontrar una palabra
It is
para
difficult to find a
describirlo.
word to describe
Chiqui González nos
what she did.
acompañaba a nuestros
Tiki Gonzalez
conciertos
would go with us to our
y
concerts, to our
recuerdo que una
tours.
vez
I remember
venció mi visa del auto y Chiqui
my
todo se lo
visa for my
hizo
car was
posible para
expired,
que yo pudiera
and
volver
she
a
did
Argentina
everything possible for
y
me to
volver
leave
a Chile.
Argentina and go back to Chile.
Cuando fui directora de la orquesta,
When I
le
was director of the
propusimos al
orchestra,
gobernador,
we
recuerdo
proposed
Chiqui,
the
un
governor.
piano
Do you remember,
Steinway,
Tiki? We
esto fue
convinced
en
him to buy a
noviembre,
piano
y
Steinway. That was in
teníamos
November,
el
and
piano en
in
casa,
May
¿no?
we already
Y
had the
se
piano,
debía mucho a
and
ti,
that
Chiqui,
was because of
por
you,
tu cercanía y por tu
because of how
interés
you are and
realmente
your interest,
genuino por las artes
completely
y por la
genuine
gente.
for arts and
Entonces,
people.
te doy la bienvenida
So,
al
Tiki, I
Festival
welcome
Mundial de la
you
Academia
to the
Internacional de
Festival
Portillo acá en
of
Chile
Music and
y
Academy of
muchísimas
Portillo.
gracias por estar con nosotros.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Muchas gracias, Alejandra. Muy
Thank you, Alejandra. I'm very excited,
emocionada porque estoy llena de
really excited because I'm full of memories, words, images. It feels like it's a return of the favor I once gave you.
a una ciudad de provincia que es Santa Fe.
But being a Chilean director,
Era la que
came to Santa Fe and made an orchestra, and it was one that would, she was someone who would greet others.
era
She was the first woman that was
animaba a ir
the director of an orchestra. She was the one that was always ready to go on tour to the towns, and she always believed that music was for everyone. And even in the most poorest areas,
mejores salas,
and even in the best rooms in the whole country,
humilde y hermosa y
she was humble and beautiful and in love with music. She was friendly
desde el tiempo a la comida,
to share
la música
her time, her food, and her music, and that the orchestra would shine with her talent.
al egocentrismo de un director.
I would say it's the opposite of the egocentric
También muy agradecida
directors nowadays. So I'm very thankful to be here
en este festival
in this festival,
nacional de Portillo.
an academy, International Academy of Portillo, that's being transmitted from the hotel, who I also thank, and I really thank our common friend, Angelica Fanjul en Morcilla, who was also in Santa Fe with us.
Nuestra amiga, nuestro puente,
She was our friend, our bridge, our sister,
y está en la organización del festival.
and she's
Conozco el nombre
organizing
de todos los
the festival.
Gracias a todos.
I don't know the name of all the organizers, but thank everyone and thank the hotel, because it's wonderful that the whole world, the best musicians around the world, the best directors around the world,
Clases que tengan que ver con el cuerpo y otras clases.
and that there are moments to connect with your body and your mind, and that you can learn so much more, because art is a way to transform life and transform the lives of those that have less.
Una manera de mirar el mundo.
And it's a way of seeing the world. And during this pandemic, it's even stronger to have this feeling, this goal. And you're in the Andes transmitting. And so enjoy the scenery, because the human scenery and the natural scenery is this perfect point with art. You can't divide nature and art and science. So my goal is that is to honor life and social transformation. And I want to share some words about a poet, because even though I've been a minister for 12 years, speaking in all my presentations, I'm still a little shy. So this will help me take my fear away. So this quote from Simon Beauvoir, who won a Nobel Prize, and he says, because men and women are not just themselves, they're also the place that they were born, the apartment, city, or farm that they learned to walk, the games that they played when they were young, the stories they heard, the music and the songs that they listened to, the food they ate, the school that they assisted, the sports they practiced, the poets they read, and the God that they believed in. And those aren't things. Those are things that have made them who they are. And those are things that we cannot know. From now on, we can only know if you've lived them. I think in this festival, I think it's great that there's this new generation learning a more universal language, more common to another life, more capable of moving mountains and situations and changing the minds of elderly, and to finding awe and imagination in everything in music. So the journey of the Greeks, the most important journey of the Greeks is that life is a journey. When we're born in the womb of a woman, and in that womb, we're like fish. And then the mother pushes us outside of the womb, and we turn into these babies and players, explorers, and spaces and times that we don't know. So that myth of life has been born from that, which in the West. So life as a journey is not a journey of right, it's a journey of obstacles, of humps. There are times where we can't find the way, we lose ourselves, and losing ourselves helps us find ourselves. It's a journey that where we're accompanied. Sometimes we lose the company of some, we find the company of others. It's collective, it's all the ages mixed. It's one that we transmit, the culture that we learned from when we were young. It's ours. It's not the privilege, it's the name. It's from the name to the dirt, to the instrument. I had a friend who was a director of an orchestra, symphonic director. He played the horn, and he was a very good friend. And one day I presented him as the director. And he was a musician in the horn orchestra, and then he became director. And someone asked, how could you ever choose the horn? But when we were young, we heard this song, the horn wakes us up early.
El clarinete,
the clarinet. And I asked him, why the horn? And he said, because someone had to play it, because an orchestra is something collective, and because I fell in love with the horn. because the horn was so alone. That's a journey. And also the one of the pianist and the violinist and the director and the beauty with the cello and so on. It's a journey like the mamushkas. It's a world within a world within a world. And it's never just a single world. It's a multicultural world. It's a world full of differences. It's a rain of differences, how we see an orchestra function, which is a metaphor of what life really is in itself. What does a orchestra have? Women, men, old, young, just starting, the one that directs, the one that, the tuba, there's the tuba, the cymbals, the ones who are up, the ones who are down. And it's proof itself that humanity can come together to create beauty and to create emotion. When Alejandra Urrutia directed Santa Fe, she would bring me to tears because there was a beautiful theater in Santa Fe, the Municipal Theater of Santa Fe. There were lines and it was free, so there were lines and lines of people. And people used to leave work, and some with sneakers, other with their children in their arms, that didn't say a word during the concert. They made the line, they stood in line to listen to symphonic music, and they weren't afraid with Bach or Mozart or Handel. And even with the folklore or the tango or Piazzolla. One time Alejandra said, there's good music and there's good music. I can go to Villana, a very poor area, and the orchestra was playing there. And I said, what are you going to play? Folklore? And she said, no, I'm going to play symphonic music. Symphony, I'm going to play a symphony. Because this music is for everyone. You don't need to know anything about it to enjoy it. And everybody came and listened to this music and cried. That was who Alejandra Urrutia is. That's who she is. So after all this, I also thank that hotel that they're in, because a space, all spaces can't be places, but a place is that's special, that marks you, and time is also something that marks you. They're environments that create you. You know of the silence. So this day that in something I want to tell you, that in long journeys, there's something about the color blue, because it was the color that was hardest to achieve in the humanity before the blue of cadmium appeared. But when you travel far away from the mountains, the lakes are very blue. But when it gets close, you don't see blue. You see white, brown, green. You see forest. So blue is far away, like utopia. So the blue is also like a reference point. I, as a theater director, I used to use the red a lot. So if it was an opera or theater, I didn't use much white or blue in the lights of the theater, because lights are what illuminate. So that journey is a journey of being far and being near. It's a utopic journey where we're walking towards something new, something imaginary. that you can call future or what's to come. And like in this pandemic, it becomes anguish and frustration and uncertainty. And so the young are locked up, they don't know where to play, they don't have a place to play, they can't get together with their colleagues. So blue is like this far away. It's this utopia. It's this ability to venture out and achieve and transform the society. This might seem like a political rant, but this isn't. I'm 72 years and my entire life in anywhere in the world where you're playing, in wherever that you're speaking, and you smile and or you
Cuando te des cuenta que el
offer
otro
hand,
vale,
when you realize
el que siempre da y el otro
you're the one that always gives and this person's the other one that always receives.
este mundo es muy injusto y está lleno
This world is very unfair
de gente invisible
and it's full of invisible people
que era inservible.
and it's full of people that other people consider
El festival y la academia de
worthless.
Rosario es ir a buscar
But this festival is different.
para que sus talentos
They go and they look for everyone who's
plena
so that their talents can flourish and so that their lives are more whole and they can share with us the beauty of music, of education, of humanity of each one of them.
este viaje tiene entrada
This journey has entry points, but one entry into life, the beginning, as you can say, that hole
una realidad.
where you see a reality, that hole in the wall, but that hole can turn into a window, and then that window, if we're so many, it can become a larger window pane, and then the whole wall could fall down so that we can all create
Uno con caminitos, algunos de tierra,
a way forward.
cruzando el agua, algunos volando.
We cross the water, some are crossing the water, some are flying,
Hicimos terreno.
because we were fish in the womb and then we became human
Si hay alguna
after.
expresión de los múltiples lenguajes para volar,
If there's any expression of the multiple languages to fly, that's music, popular music, classical music, the good music.
para llorar,
If there's a place to cry, it's music.
alegría,
If there's a place for joy, that's music.
para el abrazo, esa es la música.
There's a place for a hug, that's music. If there's a place
Vibra entero con el instrumento.
where the body vibrates completely through an instrument, that's the music.
Realizar esa máquina,
Music expresses the beautiful bodies.
usan instrumentos
You hug your instruments and make your body be the
bandoneonista
the
en la
base.
Orquesta Sinfónica de Rosario,
I had a friend
con el punto de cámara de tango,
he was in an orchestra and he was also in tango.
antiguos de los años 40, porque era
And
para mí
this was the 40s.
como una especie de
So they used to do some kind of orchestra dressed up as like old ladies. And I had like my mom's old outfits from velvet and they would wear them. And we had to do a slit in a long velvet black dress because she had the mandolin between her legs. So she had to open the legs.
Siempre me acuerdo y siempre que la encuentro con su
Bandonion between her legs. So I always remember that, the bandonion. I remember her and her black dress and cutting that slit so she can put the bandonion between her legs. The journey is we can throw walls down, we can throw prejudice down with music, but also with our daily actions. We are citizens, we are musicians, we are students that learn, we are teachers that teach, but that learn from others as well. We are youngsters, and I love starts. We are old people with wisdom, but we are old people with like children that begin to remember our childhood. We are changers of metaphors, of poesy. We are changers of we create worlds like the symphonic world, like the prelude worlds. It's an internal and exterior world. It's not really as capitalism wants to put it, that we're alone and separate, that it's better to be alone, it's better to be individualists, narcissists, believe that we're better than others, that fame is all that matters, and money alone is the only thing that matters. That journey can also lead to a terrible solitude, loneliness. That happens from not understanding what you came to the world to do. Not understanding, because your life is collective. Why do we learn collectively? Because love for the difference, in the differences, in the opposite, in the not opposite, in the same, in the gamma of altercations, in the solos, and the waits, and in the silence, because to hear the noise of this society, which is just noise now, is in the streets, noise all over, everywhere, noise fabricated for consumerism. There isn't silence, and we need to make silence sound. We need to make it be heard. I have a friend who's a musician named Jorge Vandemole. He's an extraordinary composer from Argentina. He's known around the world now. Latin America, sorry. And he was recording me, and he came, and I directed. I didn't direct politically, because there were ideas, progressive ideas, socialist ideas, but I worked with everyone. I didn't ask anyone about their political thoughts. If someone decided to change, if someone had wanted to change their sex, if they're bisexual, I didn't ask anything. But I did care about their lives. I did care about their experiences. So in that inner journey and outer journey for each one of us, in the formation of each musician, you have to raise the volume of silence so that you drown out the noise outside of you and hear the words that are important, to be said. This journey is also a conversation. I had an actor friend. I think life is life lived. That's why I'm telling all these stories. I had an actor friend who was 24 years old, who had a daughter. He was addicted to cocaine and heroin. And he came drugged to the theater classes. You have to take care of your body and have a great discipline, because otherwise you're not able to act, to reach those emotional states that you need for theater. You can't do it. You can't listen to the plateau. You can't listen to the voice of communion. It's a journey of communion. So he came, and I never rejected him. I never stopped him from coming. He wasn't violent. He just sat down and he looked, and sometimes he would say wonderful things. He didn't act. He only acted when he wanted. So he usually didn't act. He didn't sleep. I knew he was a great actor. One day he showed up. We thought it was cancer. Then he told us that he was being operated. He's getting an operation to do a sex change. And he said, I'm not going to do drugs anymore. And he told me, now I run marathons. Now I am a runner. I go to the marathons for the fans. You know, these are people that run. They're old people that run. They're women that run with their children, everyone. But a few win that aren't the professional marathons. He said that he felt a lot of shame to do this alone. So I was next to him with the marathon and to shout his name when he passed in front of me. And I would shout to him, come on, go, you can do it in the marathon. Then he brought the medal to me. And I keep it like someone gave me the Nobel Peace Prize. But in the middle of the marathon, he felt like he couldn't do it anymore. He couldn't run anymore. And he said, I'm staying here. And a boy stopped next to him. And we found out later that he was the winner of all the professional marathons. This wasn't a professional marathon. And this boy stopped next to him and he said, you're new? And he said, yeah, I can't anymore. And he said, don't look at me. I'm gonna keep your pace. You just walk with me, run with me at my rhythm, and just listen to me. And he would talk at the rhythm that he would run. Let's go. Together we can do it. Come on. And they arrived both at the end and they fell down exhausted. His name was Juan. So then we asked him, what did you do, Juan? And Juan said, I helped the guy run the marathon of life. So the journey is also a marathon where we run and we lose the marathon in order to help others out. If not, there wouldn't be maestros. Maestros was only worry about their own egoism, and they wouldn't let students to learn and overcome them. Love for the identical, passion for the similar. So that's the opposite of a musician. So listen to music and listen to silence. This is a journey with places that are full of presence. So musicians as well. Let's not talk about the symphony. Let's talk about bands and hip hop, the quartets, folklore, so on. We're accustomed to have guests, to talk with invited directors, soloists, invited soloists. It's a present journey where there are others who are present with you and vibrate with waves that are connected to this collective energy. And they sing and they dance, they whisper words of love with your music. They fall in love with your music, and that cry with their dead to your music. They marry with your music. They make love with your music, and the music of the wind and nature. Music is made of presence. I am present in a world of absentism. Musicians want the presence. They don't want streaming. They want to vibrate with others, for others. It's a journey of a community, of union. It's holding time with your hands. The musicians and photographers are manipulators of time. Children live in the present. They don't understand what it is, the chronos of the watch. When I say, grandma, when you come back, I'm saying Sunday and it's Thursday. And she's like, but when is Sunday? And I say, well, if you go to sleep 3 times, and 3 times you see the sun, and 3 times you see the moon, and then I'll come back. And kids don't understand this because they just live in the present. And there we give them information in sequence. They don't know distance either because they know just what's near, what's far. And everything's strange for them. That strangeness is also something of artists, that they don't copy, they imitate reality. They show what's behind, which is life itself, the pulse of life, the beating of life. The beating, the movement itself of living and of nature. The constant movement that has different rhythm, that has calm, that has earthquakes, that have provocations, that has agitations, that has vibrations, that has serenity, that has silence. I would like to tell you so much about this journey. The journey is creative. What it means is which you need to learn. I let others do what you feel, but art obligated me, like I was in theater and then literature and then movies. I loved music so much, and I studied piano until I was 17. So I like all the musical languages. And I'm convinced art has to do with love and benevolence. And beauty and ethics are part of it, of art. That beauty needs to make you more noble. Because if not, why would we give you this gift of beauty and all these masters like Alejandra would make you grow with all their experience? Why would they do that? So that you never think of others? So that you never share in a society that is completely unequal and that needs help sharing money, education, health, that we share the way we share life. This journey is a journey of so if you do the score, you have to choose how to combine. They seem like a very normal, simple thing to do. So you have to choose something more than the garbage of the industrial era. With milk cartons, you can do characters, or you can make a painted city. You're a great creative, but you have a right to have rice paper and to have Chinese rappers, you have a right to know all the colors and all the sounds.
Pero tiene derecho a las armonías y tiene
They
derecho a
have a
la
right to
desarmonía.
melody, they have a right to harmonies and disharmony. And you have a right to the absence and the emptiness, and you have a right to think of yourself or think for yourself and to be autonomous. So we do music and we do many other things. We don't just do music. We have a family, we raise children, we teach. Music is separated from science, from arts. All the subjects are separating, and arts feels like it's painting and something. Music is separate. When in primary school, it's the musical formation is essential because children enter playing, they enter by themselves. Because music is a game. But the same way it's a discipline, is also a game. It also has something very ludic about it. One minute it's my turn and I have to give, then I have to hold, I have to wait, silence. Now it's Handel again. Then there's a silence and then there's a huge applause. And I don't know what to do because I want to run away because they're waiting. My children are waiting for me at home. And I'm running on the streets, but the music doesn't escape my body, my skin. The creative life obligates beauty in you because without beauty, what is life? What is the meaning of life? If there's no beauty, there's no equality. If we don't share, if we don't learn, if we don't keep learning from others, if we think that the thing is done, why are we still alive? Yeah, the children have grown, they've done their life. They're already great artists. There are a lot of instrumentalists. Why would I continue if everything is already done?
Compositores. ¿Para qué voy a componer? Componer es como...
Composers, why would I compose? It's like creating a world within a world. That's composing. And interpreting is that. I love to see how some interpret something different from others. And some respect the rhythm, but the collective says something else. And that's the meaning. That it isn't just one person. It isn't just, it's the pulse of living. It's a travesty between the body and the instruments. So we don't say, oh, the piano's here, the violinist is here, the pianist is here, the violinist is here. It's really wonderful. You know, they noun us with our instruments. But we're musicians. And the singers are verbs as well. They're pure action. They're doing, giving, their progress of their own bodies and audition and of reflection and a vibration and imagination, because there isn't something that creates more imagination of streets and birds and colors and sky, of deserts, of pain as broken hearts, arms as music. So the journey is a myth, a Western myth. So there's the typical journey. Parents leave this kid. So the journey of leaving is, there's the hero's journey, right? So your father, your teachers, the weapons, the obstacles, and so on. but music can be a surgery as well. So your journey to somewhere is difficult, but your journey back to your home, to your homeland, your childhood is your homeland. Your children are your homeland. And the verbal language and oral and written language is your homeland. And Ulysses is looking for his identity. And there are others that look for the labyrinth journey because they like the challenge. They don't know how to get out. If you go from up, from down, from around, from a wall, from a hole in the wall, if you come back where you came from, it's very typical from this social times, which I call the labyrinth. Our life is a labyrinth. We go back many times, some go forward. It's not straight. And the future isn't ahead, it could be behind. And life can be cyclical. Science has already explained this. And the first moments in music, this is important. We see it with all the relation between the sheet, the artist, the director, the scores. So you have to remember, we have to remember our identities so that the labyrinth is so that we can explore our identities. If you believe in Jesus, there is a, if you don't believe in Jesus, it doesn't matter. Someone that became a man to become a philosophy of love. They rejected him and he died on the cross because it was too much of a novelty for people who had other interests. He was a symbol of love. Then there's the collective journey. There's a painful immigration currently. So there was a promised land, and where our grandfathers or great-grandfathers lived. But in the Mediterranean, there are a lot of wars, and anthropologists in 100 years are going to find cemeteries in the Mediterranean. So the collective journey is a powerful journey. It's to come out of a unbearable adversity and to come into a new collective where the land produces and it's full of air and fire. It teaches you to narrate and teaches you the subjects and poesy, and the air teaches you philosophy, the music, and we connect. These are the journeys of the myth of the Western life. That's the first module. The second module, this is shorter, don't be afraid. The young musicians are artists. I've seen good musicians that do a job and that consider it a job, but they don't really love music. Don't be offended with me. I'm not saying bad about them. They're artists with what it means to be artists, because we call everyone artist, but I'm talking about what it really means to be an artist. And culture, what is culture? It's a place where elaborates the meaning of what we are. That isn't anywhere and it's everywhere. It's a place that we elaborate different senses according to gender, culture, of knowledge, experience. And culture, what it does is it's trying not to ruin the experience, nor of the music that generations has transmitted or life, because those who transmitted all of this to us are no longer here. They thought, they numbered, they did chemistry, physics, and all the metals, and they create information for you, for the ones to come. So this is a great space of stories and memories, illuminating the memory. That isn't a quiet piece of music. Memory is the result of the changing reality that sustains it. And we have to sustain the memory of the 30,000 the people that disappeared, and sustain the memory of the dictatorship, and sustain the memory of a citizen. What opportunities does a citizen have? Where do we give our opinion in just a vote? Where are we cooperating? In a church? We have to generate a change within each other. So culture is stories, memories, it's the patrimony. Culture is the environment that shouldn't be suffocated or non-breathable. Culture is the multiple languages. Culture is the education, but not theory and practice. The form and context. Tell me, when you play something, how are you going to divide form and context and content? How could you execute it if there wasn't a body to interpret it, to feel it, to transmit it? How do you do it? What's the content and what's the form? In school, they divided form and content for us. So primary, we would sing songs, but they didn't teach us to compose, to play, and a kid could compose. A kid could listen. It's also communication, like the good kind. And it's also electronic language. So if now the homework is in school is changed to technological, and the teachers need to be taught this new technology because they don't know. They have to learn that audiovisual language is a language that you construct, that you paint, that you make sounds with, that you can edit musically, that you can create. You have to know that language. It's not a tool to transmit another language. The decimal system. It's a language in itself that it's for creating, to use your imagination.
Chiqui, we need to
we have to end.
finish. I'm sorry. I really love you, but
is the culture is the collective of a town. Culture and arts, music is a right. It's a chocolate for news, as they would say, the Chileans. It's a right for everyone, from Violeta Parra to the symphony. It's going back to 17 and singing Gracias a la Vida. It's Nicanor, the poet. I don't want to start naming musicians, Chilean musicians. It's the sea, it's the ocean. And it's the Mapuches, and it's Temuco, and Osorio, and Puerto Montt. And it's the Andes. My God, the Andes, the Pacific is what you are. So that right is a right of everyone. And this society, so capitalist and individualistic, if we don't learn to share in a different way the rights, we'll never find happiness in our pocket. Beauty is very personal, but we have to find it collectively, like the marathonist who lost his marathon to help someone else on the finish line. One medal more is one medal more, but helping an ex-drug addict to the finish line is very well. It's very good. It's good to be a master, a teacher once, and not a winner. We should be beneficiaries towards others and not winners. It's really great that we stop to learn instead of teach. It's really great that love be a transformative force and that politics be an art of living together. And for that, we have to learn so much as artists, citizens, people. And above all, remember that the other, poor or not poor, child or woman or travesti, has dignity. And we are musicians and we're human to give others dignity and to win respect of others, but so that we also give them our best and we respect others and we don't think and give them what is left over. We have to give them dignity, the way we give ourselves beauty, the way we give ourselves transformation, the way we give ourselves imagination. There's a poet that says we would need to make a jump, but any jump has to be supported in somewhere else. In reality, all of you and all of us should, with Alejandra, and just like Alejandra, be a jump. Be a jump towards the abyss, towards a community and a life more livable. Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Chiqui. Thank you so much for being with us.
Igualmente, Chiqui.
I love you, Alejandra.
Me too.
Al otro lado de la cordillera.
A big hug for
Saludo
you
a todos mis amigos
in Argentina and say hi to all of my friends from Santa Fe.
I will give them a lot of what are watching you right now because they're listening to me and they wanted to see you. So I told them.
Thank you so much, Chiqui, for being part of this festival and your beautiful words.
I'm always here.